Hi everyone, it's Jackie at Spare Room Studio and I'm back with part 2 of colouring this page in Rita Berman's book. I won't try and pronounce it. It is this one here. I think it's something to do with spring maybe, not sure. And I'm colouring this page here with Derwent Inktense so far, and it is a double page spread, but I'm only going to do this page for now. So what I've decided I will do is I'm going to leave this section here till I colour this page on this side. So I'm going to leave that little bit there for now. And what I'm going to do in this part is finish off. I think I might bring some coloured pencil in and maybe some shiny metallics or sparkly gel pens or something like that, because I feel like doing some sparkle. I think it suits this really fun and whimsical style of illustration. So I didn't get to finish that tree there, so I'm going to do that now. I've been using Derwent Inktense. I have the original 72 set that I'm using, and if you watch part 1, it got cut short very abruptly because our local council had come with a tree cutting crew. In the recent wind and storms and everything that we've had, there's been a lot of trees down in the area or branches, and across the road from us there had been a large branch come down off of a tree, and they came to cut that up and mulch it up and trim the tree in the process. So that mulcher was making a horrendous racket, so that's why I had to cut things short rather quickly, because it was rather loud and unexpected. So that was the only little bit there that I had left to do with the Inktense, I think. I'm happy with that as a base. Potentially just a little bit down here that looks a bit disjointed with a sudden bit of darkness ending there. And so I'm going to put my Inktense pencils aside, and I'm going to bring in some coloured pencil, and I've got my big case here with me. Let's move everything out the way that could possibly go wrong. I've got a big pencil case here that has Artex, Prismacolor, Polychromos, Jazz Art, Lyra Rembrandt. It's an oddity of pencils that I've collected over time, open stock. And the Artex is the full Artex set, but it's a random mix of pencils that I like to just generally work from, from time to time. I don't like to get big sets out necessarily. I get this pencil case out because it's got a bit of everything. There's the softer Prismacolors, there's some harder Polychromos. I just sort of use a bit of everything with it. And I'm finding that I'm using pencils less and less these days. I'm using more water-based markers than anything. I do like the Derwent Inktense pencils and watercolour pencils because I find they're just so much faster. They give me a good base to work with, and I'm just enjoying them far more than I enjoy working wholly and solely with coloured pencil. And I enjoy coloured pencil for bringing in these little bits of, extra something, whether it be extra detail, extra colour, just deepening up an area or something, just adding a bit of texture, a bit of interest. And I enjoy doing that, but I'm not enjoying doing full pages with coloured pencil anymore at the moment. That could change, of course. I do go through phases very much where I'll work in one particular book or one particular artist, and then I get sick of that and I move on. Or I decide that there's a certain colour palette that I'm enjoying, and so I stick to that set of pencils or markers before I move on. And that seems to be like quite a common working style for me. And I'm like it with other things, you know, like I'll discover a new brand of tea and I'll drink that until I'm sick of that tea. And then I find something else, or I move to, you know, coffee or whatever. I chop and change, but I find something that I like and then I do that to death, get absolutely sick of it. This is Chartreuse by Artex. I have a Chartreuse Prismacolor that is broken and won't sharpen. So I've been using the Artex Chartreuse quite a bit. So yeah, I tend to do that, you know. I'm the sort of person who will binge watch a Netflix series until I'm fed up with that. I might find an author and then read lots of their books until I'm sick of reading. It just seems to be in my nature to do that. And with my current working situation of not having a dedicated creative space, I get down some supplies out of where I store them all on top of the wardrobe in baskets, and I'll change over a few pencil cases or markers or whatever and get something different out, and then that's all I use for a while before I can be bothered getting back up on the chair or a ladder and get more stuff down. So, you know, there's no other more technical reason than that. And I'm pressing quite hard here because I want a nice saturated, really deep colour. I'll leave some washy areas, but in other areas I want some nice, very vibrant, deep colour. And I like the way the Artex is burnishing that Prismacolor. The Artex is a little bit harder than the Prismacolor, so it's actually smushing that into the paper and making that look quite saturated and vibrant. So I've been doing a lot of work, as you know, lately with Crayola products. I do like finding a budget-priced supply that will provide me with the results that I want at a reasonable price, and I will use it because I enjoy it, and I don't really care, you know, whether it's budget or student or whatever it is. As long as it does the job I want and I'm enjoying using it and it's not a chore to use it, I will use it. I do own several artist quality sets of pencils that I'm sometimes loath to use it. And this is very much a way of thinking that has developed for me from past experiences, my upbringing and so on. It's very much about my view about money more so than it is about my views or thoughts about art supplies. But I purchased quite a few things when I was creating original art, and I was creating it to sell, so therefore it needed to be artist quality, it needed to be light fast, it needed to be something that would withstand time, so that someone who's investing their money in my work is not going to be disappointed by having a picture on their wall that 6 months later has faded away to nothing and they can't see it anymore. So in that instance, you do need to invest in quality items. There's a reason why you need to have those things, and it's acceptable, it's factored into the cost of, if you're selling your work, you factor all of those things into pricing your work and so on. My colouring books, however, are purely for enjoyment. They're purely for me, and they're very rarely getting opened. They're rarely being shown to anybody. Unless I'm working on them, they're tucked away in a cupboard or on the bookshelf. And they do not need to be light fast. They don't need to be quality. If you can afford it and you enjoy using it, then that's all well and good. That's great. But I don't earn an income, and I am certainly not going to keep replacing polychromos and Albrecht Dürer watercolour pencils and so on at great speed when I'm not working and I'm not supporting myself and I'm using them in a colouring book. That does not make great economic sense to me to be doing that. If money was no object, then yes, I would, I would choose all the products that I like that make life easier, require very little blending, give you brilliant colour, all the enjoyment. Yep, great. If I was working and supporting myself and I had the spare cash, I'd do it. Do it in a heartbeat. But I'm not. And so if a Crayola product gives me the look that I like and I'm enjoying, and it's not tedious and, dreadful and giving me pain and all the rest of it, I'll use it. Because I don't have any qualms at sloshing about water, playing and experimenting and being cavalier with a product that costs $20 to replace. That's no problem. I can do that. So as with most things in our life, there's usually reasons why people choose to do stuff and reasoning behind it that can be quite private. And pursuing creativity and so on a budget, being creative shouldn't be something that's only for people that can afford the best products. Creativity, when you're on a budget, sometimes you can be forced to actually explore your creativity a little bit more because you need to experiment and find ways and means to achieve what you want with those cheaper products. And so it can actually be quite good for you to expand your horizons with your techniques, loosening up your style, for example, letting go of perfectionism and so on, because you're allowing yourself to play. You're allowing yourself to push those products as far as they possibly can go. Whereas if potentially you could be buying a set of, say something like polychromos, for example, and you know that they're a layering pencil, and your budget allows you to replace them whenever you want. Well, you could potentially be stuck in that colouring style of just layering and layering and layering and not trying anything else, because that's what you've told yourself about the pencil. Whereas someone that's got a set of Crayola pencils, for example, who might get hand pain because they've got arthritis or something, might then force themselves to look at, okay, well, this is hurting me. What can I do with these pencils that'll be different? And they'll look at ways of blending them with solvent, or putting down a layer of watercolour wash with, you know, a cheap marker, and then using the pencil over the top. And then they might find a way of using that pencil that no longer gives them the hand pain, but gives them enough colour and brightness and enjoyment that, you know, they can continue their hobby. So if I won the lottery, you know, this weekend, it's quite a big one here. If I won the lottery and I had a never-ending supply of hobby money, sure, I might change my ideas and start using Caran d'Ache and, you know, the polychromos, you know, get myself a full set of neo colours and all that sort of thing. And there's actually a chance that I may not like some of those things as well. I don't know, because I haven't had them. But I guess what I'm trying to say is don't judge anyone for what they're using, whether it be budget or expensive. They might have their reasons why they're choosing those things. And I just happen to want to share with you on this channel that there are alternatives for some of the more pricier products. There's alternatives if you're finding a working method is giving you hand or wrist pain. There are alternatives if you're feeling dissatisfied with the results that you're getting. You can try different techniques. You know, I hope to offer some alternatives to you to think about. And no one method, no one product, no one thinking is the be-all and end-all. We can keep finding new things, we can keep experimenting, we can keep playing. You know, none of this is set in stone, that because you did it this way once, that you have to continue doing it that way forever. Or, you know, you made the statement once that I like X, so therefore you've got to keep using X. No, we can keep growing and changing and evolving, no matter what it is. So I've got sand and cadmium yellow light here, and I'm just going to deepen up some of the colours in the sheep. And I have to say, you know, a lot of the time you get what you pay for when it comes to art supplies. But I've also been pleasantly surprised sometimes with some of my more thrifty purchases. There have been some awful things. You know, there's some terribly horrible, cheap and nasty products on offer on the internet. I think my sharpener needs emptying. It's not working very well. I'm using the to-go sharpener. Oh, it's absolutely jam-packed. No wonder it's not working. These sharpeners are great, but you know, you have to remember to empty them now and again. Hamish. Hamish. Sorry if you can hear the dog noises behind me. Gosh, that was a chore. So these to-go sharpeners are great, but when they're full, they won't work at all. Funny that, isn't it? And this sand has got a very crumbly lead in it, so I've got a feeling it's going to keep breaking. I'll just try and go a bit more gentle with it. So yeah, while there's some really awful, nasty stuff, every now and again you find a little diamond in the rough. And sometimes, you know, you find a product that's on a amazing sale, so you manage to pick up something better quality for a good price. Is always nice. So I've put down my other yellow and now I can't find it. It will turn up, I guess. I've got Hansa Yellow Light now, which is a much more neon sort of looking brighter yellow. So I guess my advice would be when it comes to should you buy expensive products or shouldn't you, it's very much your personal circumstances, but I would say generally speaking, yes, what you pay for something generally gives you a good indication of what you're going to get when it comes to art supplies. Crayola, of course, are a bit of a difference, I guess, when it comes to the markers. I find the Crayola Super Tips for their price range to be a really handy little tool to have. And I mean, I quite like Crayola pencils myself. I don't have an issue with them at all. I do find it really comes down to a lot of the time with Crayola pencils what your paper's like. There's been some books that I've found the Crayola pencils sometimes are the best, you know, the best choice. Sorry, that's Hamish keep trotting in and out there. He keeps knocking the cupboard behind me as he goes. Now I think I'm going to bring some purple in for shadows. Looking at this point, ultramarine violet and cobalt violet. This is cobalt violet here. It's a little bit deeper. I just want to bring in some darker shadows I'm trying to work quickly because I'm conscious of the time. I don't want to drag these videos out too long. I'd be interested to hear from you some feedback about what is the sort of comfortable time of watching videos for you. What do you like? What is your cut-off point, basically? It can be a little bit disheartening when you put the time in and you think people are going to want to see to the end to see how it finishes up, but in fact they're not watching to the end. So a little bit of feedback there would be handy, just to know what your preferences are. Sounds like those tree cutters are going around and doing quite a bit of work today. It has been really, really windy. And we've been fortunate in the area that I live in. There hasn't been an awful lot of damage, but there are a lot of tree branches down and a lot of... I found, like when I went walking with the dog, that our local park had a whole tree that was uprooted. It wasn't in a main thoroughfare though, so it wasn't causing a huge problem, but it's a shame because, you know, these trees are nice to have around in summertime when it's really hot, you know, and you want to go walking. It's nice to have little shady spots to be able to sit and while some time away. I'm going to bring in some brighter pinks in there as well, I think. So I need, I'm going to use some of this opera pink, which is a bit like a fluorescent. And I'm looking for... I've got fuchsia. In the Artex range, there doesn't appear to be an awful lot of pinks. I've got a crimson here, which is a polychromos. That one might be nice. This one's called Opera Pink. I think my neighbour might be going out to work. And this is Baker Miller Pink. And I need some orange and yellow, I think. One goes in there. There's the missing yellow. You know that these things have to be there somewhere, but they do hide from us sometimes. So that one is fluorescent orange. And this one is fluorescent yellow. Sometimes I like those little touches of the neon or fluorescent colours, not in huge amounts, but it just helps pick an area up and make it just stand out that little bit more. If you remember, I used some yellow in some of these areas up here, and it just helps, you know, lift it a little bit. If I don't have a fluorescent pencil, because the Artex fluorescent ones are actually quite good, I sometimes use a Faber-Castell fluorescent pen or a highlighter. You know, just your fluorescent highlighter pen. And a little touch of that here and there just helps, you know, give that little extra bit of interest. It draws the eye. You don't want to use it in huge, you know, huge amounts. This is Hooker's Green. It's a polychromos. This is one that I bought open stock many years ago, and I just use it like this, you know, where I add little bits in, and it's still that size, and I've had it for years. So sometimes when it comes to expensive pencils, even if you don't want to buy a full set, it's nice to get a colour that you use a lot of. Like, for example, for me, it would be chartreuse green. And if you have a look here, I've got two polychromos here, light green and grass green. They've seen a lot of use as well. So if you just pick a couple of those colours that you know that you use a lot of, it can be nice to just have a couple of expensive pencils to use for these little points of interest that give you a little bit of enjoyment, but you get the results too. You know, you're getting a nice result out of them. And sometimes with the more expensive sets, you might pick up a colour that's really not in any other budget set. And so it can be really handy to just, so that's reached its capacity there. I can't get any more colour on there. So it can be nice to just add these little, you know, touches in with an expensive marker or an expensive pencil that you just, you know, you can pick it up whenever you've got that spare bit of cash. I've told my family now when they don't know what to get me that a gift voucher for one of our local art stores, you know, for whatever amount they can afford, is very handy for me, because I then just go and buy some open stock pencils, usually Prismacolor and the Polys. But I just go and pick up a couple of open stock, and I've done it with markers as well, alcohol markers. I just buy a couple at a time. And they think I'm mad because they're not arty. They don't understand any money. Sorry, just checking a message on my phone. They don't understand spending any money on this stuff, but, you know, if they give me $20, it can buy me a few pencils and I'm happy. Okay, I'm getting very low on my battery on my phone, so I better speed up here. I'm going to add a few sparkly bits into the trees. I've got a set of Colour It sparkly pens here, and I'm going to put some sparkly, they haven't been used for a while, so I hope they work okay. So I'm going to put some sparkles in. And I should have a lighter colour here as well. And I just blend all that together as well. And I've also got in here, it's called Glitter Firefly, and that's like a fluorescent. And I like to just blend that in with the different colours as well. A bit random. I always have to remember with glittery things that I don't go putting my hands in there afterwards. We've got a spearmint here, that's a bit of a bluey green. So if this video ends abruptly, it will be because my phone has run out of battery. So just in case, I'll say thank you now for watching. This will appear in the completed pages for the end of month. The finished page will also be on Instagram. And at this point of the picture, I'm really just putting the extra glittery bits in now. I'm going to not do a lot more with it other than that. I'm going to do some blue knitting needles here just because I want something dark to show up. And I think we might put some pink in. This one's called Orchid. So if I end abruptly, I apologise for that in advance. I actually started out with quite a bit of battery, but I've tried to record a few different things this morning, so time is getting away from me. I'm having a small medical procedure early next week, so I'm not sure how I will feel after that as to how much of a colouring or recording schedule will happen next week. So if I go missing in action, then that's probably why. So nothing overly serious. Hopefully it could potentially be life-changing for me in a good way. But it's not a life-threatening issue, but it's just something that affects the quality of life that I hope will be improved. It's really hard when you're thinking on the hop and you're trying to be quick. This is called Glitter 24 Carat. I'm hoping it's a gold. And I'll do a little bit of that in here. So I might just show you what that looks like close up, and then any slight changes that will be done off camera at the end. Sorry for that. Won't be huge. Let's get rid of those. Okay, so here we have some multicoloured sheep. With their multicoloured ball of wool. Could do with doing a little bit more blending in here. You can see there's some sparkles starting to happen, but essentially that's how the page will end up, with a little bit of tweaking. So thank you all for listening to me witter on again, and I hope that there is something of use there on how to use Inktense pencils in potentially a different way to what you've thought of in the past. And I hope you have lots of fun exploring and playing with your own materials and your own books. Until the next one, have lots of fun and take care of yourselves, and hopefully I will see you soon. Bye now.